everybody, another tutorial, another old request that I've been putting off for 3 years. This one is, could you please do a video about how to engage the back muscles when using the arms and how to keep the shoulders down? Okay, so I do mention this a lot in other videos. I have my basic port de bras video, I have proper posture for ballet video. I mentioned this again in the Dying Swan arms video. I do a lot of like mentioning here and there, but I apparently do not have a single video where it's just all about the back and shoulders. So I guess that's what we're doing today. Today is Back and Shoulders Day. Okay, so one of the most common things you will hear a teacher say is shoulders down, shoulders down. What does that mean? Unfortunately, our first instinct is to just like press and squeeze and bear down like we're sitting on the toilet, you know? And that is not the best way to think about your shoulders and back. And sometimes this is just like the teacher's fault. Like a lot of teachers just say corrections that they're so used to saying, but they don't explain how to do it. So it's easy to just say shoulders down, and then everybody's like sitting there bearing down their muscles, overdeveloping these little muscles. You know, these really shouldn't be as big as they are. Maybe it's genetic, but I feel like I also picked up the bad habit of squeezing and pushing down and grunting and stuff until I finally like reevaluated what does it mean to not just hold the shoulders down, but do that by activating the back muscles. It's less here and more here. Okay, so the way that we actually keep our shoulders down and engage the back muscles when we use our arms is really focusing more on our scapulas, on our shoulder blades. So anatomically, our shoulder blades are actually quite flat, like a blade. And the way that we keep our arms kind of anchored into our back is by imagining that our scapulas, our shoulder blades, are flat. It's like somebody just took a sticker and just slapped it flat on your back. I have a pretty bony back, so I think hopefully we can see this clearly. You don't want to be rounding your back. You don't want your shoulder blades to be sticking out. And we also don't want to be squeezing, but you don't want to squeeze so far back that like you're pulling your elbows back, because that can also like affect your rib cage. And the whole point of ballet, of posture in ballet, is to keep everything as vertical and as straight as possible. So you never want to do anything with any part of your body that compromises that vertical line. So you never want to be like squeezing so hard that you're laying open a rib cage, and you're also, this is just not centered. Like there's no center of gravity this way. And you also never want to be like bearing down and straining that you start doing this. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. And a good way to feel this is, you know how like when you roll your shoulders, you give yourself like a little massage, sore, roll your shoulders. If you shrug your shoulders up, put them back, and then relax them down, that is pretty flat. So we're not like grunting backwards, and we're not straining forwards. It's give yourself a nice shoulder roll, bring them back, and put them down. And again, imagine that these are just like flat pancakes. And anytime you move your arm, you still want to keep that flat pancake feeling. So when I'm teaching kids or beginners, anybody that does not have a lot of experience with this, one of the things I have them do is either lay on the floor or put their back against the wall. So it might take a little bit of adjusting to find like a flat, neutral spine. And what that means is you don't want to be arching this way, and you also don't want to be tucking under too much this way, right? You kind of just want to feel flat like a pancake on your back. And you should also feel that in your shoulders. You should feel like your shoulder blades are just kind of relaxed and flat against the floor. And from there, you can start playing with different arm positions. And like, yes, your shoulder blades do shift a little bit, but you should never feel like the blade of your shoulder, like jabbing into the floor. You should be able to comfortably go through all the positions without too much discomfort. And hopefully you're not laying on a very, very hard floor. But you should never feel your shoulder blades have to like pop out. They should never be like pointing into the floor. You always have to like keep that flat feeling. And it is almost like a wide feeling rather than a skinny squeezing feeling. So I know in ballet, a lot of the times we're preoccupied with trying to look smaller, skinnier, more compact. But I actually found when it comes to supporting your arms, it's the opposite. I feel like I almost want to take up as much space as possible, and it happens more under the armpit and under the shoulder blade. It's not so much up here, like the tops of the shoulders like we think about. It's really more like here, like right below the shoulder blade, right between the shoulder blades, and out from under the armpit. So you can also think about it as like being sandwiched between two walls. Like there's a wall pressing on you from the front, and there's a wall pressing on you from the back, and you're kind of just like sandwiched in between these two walls. And because of that, you can never rotate or pivot the shoulder blade. It's just like everything on this side and this side is flat, and it's really just kind of like the ball and socket just from here, just from this little, your humerus, your funny bone has that little like knob at the top of the bone, and it connects somewhere. Your funny bone connects to your whatever bone. Your shoulder blades act as the anchor. So it's really your shoulder blades that are keeping your shoulders down. Also, if you can imagine that you're doing like a pull-up, or you ever see those machines at the gym where it's like you're pulling the weight down, it's kind of like that too. But instead of just like the elbow pulling down, you're really pulling down from here. And you can see those muscles. Another thing you can do to experiment with this is to uh, go up to the bar and put your arms in first position, basically right under the bar. And while keeping the shoulders down, lift up with the elbow. So now you're getting the elbows lifted feeling, which is also like, important to think about all the time. Another thing that will help you avoid the like straining feeling when you're like pressing your shoulders down is to actually kind of imagine that your head is like detached from your neck. And I know that sounds weird, but I feel like rather than like pressing down from right here, from this like really tight muscular area where we hold a lot of tension, it's like this part's pulling down, but the head is also pulling up. It's like you just lift your head up out of your back. It's like this part of your spine is just kind of like floating, and it will create the illusion of a longer neck, a looser neck, and just a more free head movement. And the fact that you just kind of like loosen this up and let it be free will make it easier for your arms to move freely. Because once you start thinking of down, down, clenchy, clenchy, your arms get kind of like stiff. So it's down from here, from under the shoulder blades, and light here. And it will give you so much more freedom. And you almost don't even have to think about, oh, am I lifting my shoulder? It will just kind of naturally happen. Like your head wants to get away from your shoulder blades. They want to like pull apart. And when you're like letting your head lift up out of your shoulder blades, you just have so much more space here. You create it naturally, and it is so much less likely for your shoulders to come up, you know, while you're doing these things. Another way you could think about it is I have these big collarbones, courtesy of my dad. They're 100% genetic. You can think of your collarbones always having to stay flat. So if you see your collarbone going up, that's a sign that your shoulder blade is up. So you can also just look in the mirror and practice moving your arms through these positions, but keeping your collarbone level. All right, I hope all those tips helped you. Thank you so much for watching, and stay salty.